Amina dropped the metal ball. It clattered across the dusty road and spun in a sharp circle before falling flat. She was standing in the center of the marketplace at noon. People had stopped moving. A child pointed. "Mama, why doesn't she have a shadow?" Amina looked down. The sun was high, bright, merciless. Every person around her cast a long, trembling outline on the ground. Except her. There was nothing beneath her feet. No dark shape. No echo of her body. Just sunlight. A murmur spread. She has offended something. No, this is not normal. Amina swallowed, forcing a laugh. It's just the angle of the sun. But she knew. 3 months ago, she had walked into the forest at midnight. 3 months ago, she had made a trade. And now, the sun refused to recognize her. Before the whispers, before the power, before the silence that followed her everywhere, Amina had been invisible in a different way. She sat on the edge of her bed that night, counting coins in her palm. 1, 2, 3. Not enough. Her son, Malik, stood at the doorway. "Mama, are we still going to school tomorrow?" She smiled even though her chest felt tight. Of course. But the landlord came again. She didn't answer. From outside, a heavy knock shook the thin wooden door. "Amina," the landlord's voice boomed. "Tomorrow. I want my money tomorrow." Her daughter Zainab whispered, "What happens if you don't pay?" Amina pulled both children close. "Nothing will happen." But something always happened. Later that night, when the children were asleep, she stepped outside and sat beneath the dying lantern. Old Mama Sod shuffled past slowly. "You are still awake?" the old woman asked. Amina sighed. "Sleep doesn't solve death." Mama Sod studied her face. "There are other ways to solve it." Amina frowned. "What ways?" The old woman hesitated. "There is a market. Not for food. Not for cloth. For things people cannot see." Amina almost laughed. "I don't have anything left to sell." Mama Sada's eyes darkened. "Everyone has something." Silence lingered between them. "What do they trade?" Amina asked softly. "Laughter." "Yes. Names." The old woman leaned closer. "Shadows." Amina shook her head. "That is madness." "Is hunger not madness?" That question stayed with her long after Mama Sod left. The next night, the landlord returned. "You think I am joking," he snapped. "Tomorrow, you leave." Malik clung to her wrapper. "Mama." Something inside her cracked. That night, when the moon climbed high and silver, Amina walked toward the forest. She did not tell anyone. The air felt colder beneath the trees. Then she saw it. Lanterns. Soft golden lights floating between branches. A market. Stalls arranged in a circle. People speaking in low voices. Some were crying. Some were smiling too widely. At the center stood a tall figure wrapped in dark cloth. He looked at her before she spoke. "You came," he said calmly. "I heard there is opportunity here." "There is always opportunity," he replied. Her hands trembled. "What is the price?" "That depends on what you want." She hesitated. "Power." The word surprised even her. "Not money. Not food. Power." The figure tilted his head. "Power is heavy. I can carry it." He extended his hand. "Then give me what holds you back." She frowned. "What holds me back?" "Your shadow." She stepped back. "That makes no sense." "Your shadow carries your doubt. Your fear. Your hesitation. Without it, you will not shrink. You will not beg. You will not break. And what happens to it? It becomes mine. Silence. She thought of the landlord. Of Malik's thin shoes. Of Zainab's silent tears. It won't kill me, she asked. No. She took a breath. Then take it. The figure snapped his fingers. A strange pulling sensation gripped her feet. She gasped as the ground beneath her darkened. Her shadow peeled away like smoke rising from water. It twisted once, almost reaching for her. Then slipped into a glass jar in the merchant's hand. The lanterns flickered. It is done, he said. Amina felt lighter. Stronger. Colder. When does it begin? She asked. It already has. The next morning, she walked through the village differently. Her back straight. Her eyes steady. When the landlord approached, ready to shout, she spoke first. You will wait, she said calmly. He opened his mouth. And closed it. Something in her voice stopped him. He swallowed. Fine. I will return. He walked away. She blinked. Malik stared. Mama, he listened. Amina felt a strange thrill. Later that week, a trader from the city came looking for land. No one knew how, but Amina found herself negotiating. You are asking too much, the trader said. She leaned forward. No. I am asking what it is worth. He stared at her for a long moment. Then nodded. Within days, money flowed. Within weeks, respect followed. People who once ignored her now greeted her first. Amina, what do you think? Amina, can you advise us? She began making decisions for others. And they obeyed. One afternoon, as she stood outside her newly repaired house, Zainab tugged her hand. Mama. Yes. Why don't you stand in the sun anymore? Amina frowned. She looked down. The ground was empty beneath her. No shadow. Only light. If you're already wondering whether the price was worth it, stay with this story. And if you enjoy powerful moral tales like this, make sure you like this video and tell me in the comments, would you trade your shadow for power? Because Amina was only beginning to understand what she had given away. And her shadow had not forgotten her. The first time the dogs barked at her, Amina ignored it. She was walking through the main road, her head high, her steps measured. Two women stopped talking when she passed. She has changed, one whispered. Changed is good, the other replied nervously. Amina did not slow down. But the dogs did not stop barking. They followed her, growling, their eyes fixed on the empty space at her feet. Go away, she snapped. They scattered, whining. That night, Zainab refused to sleep alone. Mama, can I stay with you? You are not a baby, Amina said, sharper than she intended. Zainab's face fell. You don't smile anymore. Amina opened her mouth to argue. Nothing came out. Malik spoke from the corner. You don't laugh either. She turned away. Sleep. When they were quiet, she sat upright in the darkness. The house was bigger now. Cleaner. Brighter. But colder. She stood and walked toward the wall where the moonlight stretched across the room. She froze. There was a shadow on the wall. It moved. Her body did not. Her breath caught. The shadow's head tilted slowly. As if studying her. Amina whispered, no. The shadow lifted its arm. She did not. It pressed its palm against the wall. Amina stumbled backward. Leave me, she hissed. The shadow's mouth moved. No sound came out. Then it slid down the wall and disappeared into the floor. She did not sleep that night. The next day, she doubled her efforts. If fear tried to creep in, she crushed it. If doubt whispered, she silenced it. She attended meetings in the village square. Men who once laughed at her now waited for her opinion. Amina, should we sell the northern land? Yes, she replied instantly. And the farming rights? Lease them. Her voice was steady, unshaken. One of the elders studied her closely. You are very certain. I have no reason to be uncertain, she answered. And she didn't. That was the problem. Nothing made her hesitate anymore. Not risk. Not consequence. Not people's feelings. When Mama Sod approached her quietly that afternoon, Amina felt irritation instead of respect. You went, the old woman said. Amina's jaw tightened. Yes. And you paid? Yes. Mama Sod glanced down at the empty ground beneath her. Do you miss it? Miss what? Your shadow. Amina laughed softly. It was useless. The old woman's eyes were sad. Shadows are not useless. They remind us where we stand. I stand above my problems now. Mama Sod shook her head. Power without weight makes a person float too high. I am not floating, Amina said sharply. I am rising. And what happens when the wind changes? Amina turned away. That night, the shadow returned. This time, it stood at the foot of her bed. Clear. Defined. Separate. She sat up slowly. What do you want? She whispered. The shadow stepped closer. Its movements were smooth, familiar. It knelt beside the bed. Its voice came softly, like wind through cracks. You left me. She swallowed. You were holding me back. I was holding you together. Her chest tightened. I don't need you. The shadow tilted its head. Then why are you afraid to look at me? I am not afraid. The shadow stretched across the floor, rising until it was eye level with her. You feel nothing, it said. That is strength. That is emptiness. She clenched her fist. I have power. You have silence. The words hit harder than she expected. Before she could respond, Malik's voice came from the hallway. Mama. The shadow dissolved instantly. Malik stood there, rubbing his eyes. Who were you talking to? No one, she said too quickly. He stared at the wall. Why is it so dark in here? It's night, she snapped. He hesitated. Mama, when I stand next to you, it feels cold. Something in her flickered. Just for a second. She pulled him close. But the warmth she tried to give him did not come. He pulled away gently. You feel different. After he left, she sat in silence. The shadow's words echoed. You feel nothing. The next morning, a dispute broke out in the market. Two brothers fighting over inherited land. They came to her. Amina, decide. She did not ask questions. She did not listen to emotion. She simply chose the more profitable outcome. You, she said to the younger brother, will sell your share. His face went pale. But that land was my father's. It is business. Tears filled his eyes. Please. Her expression did not change. It is decided. He left broken. People stared at her. She is not the same, someone murmured. That evening, Zainab refused to eat. Why? Amina asked. You scared Uncle Musa, the girl whispered. He is weak. Zainab's small voice trembled. You used to care. Amina stood abruptly. Caring made us poor. Silence. Zainab pushed her plate away. I want my old mama back. The words pierced deeper than the shadow's voice. But Amina said nothing. Later that night, the shadow returned again. This time, it stood between her and the door. You are losing them, it said gently. They need security. They need you. I am here. You are present. Not here. Her chest tightened. What do you want from me? She demanded. The shadow stepped closer. Balance. She laughed bitterly. Balance doesn't feed children. No, it agreed. But it keeps them from fearing you. Silence hung heavy. For the first time since the trade, something cracked inside her calm. A tremor. Small. But real. If this story is pulling at you right now, pause for a second and ask yourself, what would you sacrifice to never feel small again? And tell me honestly in the comments. Because Amina was beginning to realize something dangerous. Power had filled her hands. But it had emptied her heart. And the shadow was not done speaking. The next morning, Amina woke before the sun. For the first time in weeks, she felt something close to exhaustion. Not physical. Heavy. She stepped outside as dawn stretched thin light across the village. The ground beneath her feet was still empty. No shadow. Just pale earth. She whispered, "What do you want from me?" The answer did not come immediately. Instead, Malik's voice drifted from behind her. "Mama." She turned. He was holding a small drawing. "Look," he said carefully. "I drew us." She took the paper. Two stick figures stood under a bright sun. One had a long shadow. The other had none. "That one is you," he said quietly. Her throat tightened. "Why didn't you draw mine?" He hesitated. "Because you don't have one." Zainab stepped out behind him. "The other children say you are cursed." Amina felt anger rise. But it faded quickly. In its place was something she had not felt in a long time. Shame. She knelt in front of them. "Do you think I am cursed?" Malik shook his head slowly. "I think you are far away." The words were simple. They cut deeper than any accusation. Far away. She stood abruptly and walked toward the forest. She did not tell anyone where she was going. The trees swallowed her quickly. The air felt familiar. Cold. Still. She reached the clearing where the market had once stood. Nothing. No lanterns. No stalls. No whispers. "Show yourself," she shouted. Silence answered. "I want to speak to you." The wind moved through the branches. Then, slowly, the cloaked figure appeared from behind a tree. "You returned," he said calmly. "I want it back." He tilted his head. "What?" "My shadow." He was quiet for a moment. "You were satisfied. I was powerful. And now?" She swallowed. "Now I am alone." "You asked for power," he reminded her. "And you gave me emptiness." "No," he corrected gently. "I removed your hesitation. You removed my heart." He studied her carefully. "Power without doubt is dangerous," he said. "You believed doubt was weakness." "It is weakness." "No," he said softly. "It is restraint." She looked at him with anger and desperation. "You tricked me. I offered. You chose." Silence fell between them. "What must I give?" she asked finally. "To reclaim your shadow." "Yes." He stepped closer. "Everything you gained from the trade." Her breath caught. "My house." "Yes." "My land." "Yes." "The respect." "Yes." "You mean I go back to nothing?" "You go back to yourself." Tears filled her eyes. "You call that fair?" "I call that balance." She shook her head. "My children will suffer." "They were already suffering," he said quietly. She felt the truth in that. Not hunger. But distance. Fear. Coldness. She looked down at her hands. They were steady. Too steady. I don't want to feel small again, she whispered. The merchant's voice softened. Feeling small is not the same as being powerless. She closed her eyes. Images flooded her mind. Zainab pushing away her plate. Malik drawing a mother without a shadow. Mama Sada's tired eyes. You are far away. Her voice trembled. If I return it, will I still have strength? You will have balance. Silence stretched long and heavy. Finally, she nodded. Take it back. The merchant raised the glass jar. Inside, her shadow moved restlessly. For a moment, it pressed against the glass. As if waiting. Once restored, he said, there is no second trade. I understand. He uncorked the jar. The shadow poured out like smoke. It hesitated in the air. Then rushed toward her feet. A sudden weight anchored her to the earth. She gasped. It felt strange. Warm. Heavy. Human. She looked down. For the first time in months, a dark outline stretched beside her in the fading light. Her shadow. It did not move independently. It simply followed. Tears slid down her face. The merchant stepped back. It is done. She looked up. Why does it hurt? Because you are feeling again. The forest seemed brighter somehow. Will they forgive me? She asked. That is not mine to decide. When she returned to the village, the change was immediate. The large house she had purchased was gone. In its place stood her old, small home. The repaired roof sagged again. Her fine clothes were replaced with simple fabric. She exhaled slowly. Malik ran toward her first. Mama. He stopped abruptly. He looked down. His face lit up. You have it. Zainab rushed forward. You have your shadow. Amina knelt and pulled them both close. This time, warmth flowed easily. I am sorry, she whispered. For what? Malik asked. For going far away. Zainab held her tighter. Are you staying now? Yes. Mama saw the approach slowly. You chose, the old woman said. Amina nodded. I thought power would protect us. And what protects you now? Mama Sod asked gently. Amina looked down at the ground. Her shadow rested faithfully beside her. Balance, she said softly. That evening, she stood in the open road as the sun began to set. Villagers passed her. Some still whispered. Some avoided eye contact. But she felt the weight of her shadow at her feet. Not heavy like chains. Heavy like truth. Malik slipped his hand into hers. Mama. Yes. Would you ever trade it again? She looked at him. No. Even if we became poor again. She smiled gently. We were never poor. Zainab frowned. But we had no money. Amina touched her chest. We had each other. The sun dipped lower. Her shadow stretched long across the ground. It did not move on its own. It did not whisper. It simply followed. If this story moved you even a little, take a second right now to like this video. Stories like this remind us that power without heart costs more than we think. And if you had the chance, would you trade your shadow for success? Tell me in the comments. Amina learned something many people never do. The parts of us that hesitate, that doubt, that feel fear, are not weaknesses. They are anchors. And without them, we drift too far from ourselves. The woman who traded her shadow for power gained the world for a moment. But she chose to gain herself forever. And this time, when the sun rose the next morning, it recognized her. Her shadow rose with her. Oh. Complete. Home.